today's episode, we'll be discussing a very important and vital aspect of CCTV surveillance installation. So, on today's episode, we'll be discussing about analog system installation, analog cameras installation. So, before we proceed, let's quickly discuss about some components of analog CCTV camera system. So, we have a very important component of the system, which is our CCTV camera. We have our DVR. This is our analog camera. We have our analog camera. We have our digital video recorder, DVR. This is also our analog camera. We have other here, some components of CCTV, which is our CCTV power supply box. So let's start from, and we have a cable, HDMI cable, which is to link the digital video recorder to the television. We have our monitor here, which is our television. We have our internet router, which will be connected for remote access. And also we have here our cable, which is RJ59 ceramic cable with power. So let's start from the camera. So this is a typical example of an analog camera, and this is a very powerful camera. As we can see, it comes with inbuilt audio. So let's unbox the camera. As we can see, this is the camera, Vision camera, and this is a typical example of an analog camera, and it is a dome. It's mainly used for indoor, and we can see from here the connector and the power connector here. And this is here also we have a focus 2-bore HD camera. Let's unbox the camera, and it's a typical example of an outdoor camera. This is a typical example of a bullet camera, an outdoor camera. As we all can see, this is a BNC connector for signal, and this is a 12 volts power for powering the camera. And also here we have our BNC connector to connect the cable from the camera point to the digital video recorder point. Also, we have our digital video recorder. We check what we have inside the DVR. As we can see, this is a typical example of 4 channels DVR. This is channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. What this means is that the digital video recorder can take up to 4 cameras, maximum of 4 cameras. And this is an audio out for audio, and this is VGA for signal. This is HDMI port for signal, which will be connected to the television. This is our audio input for external microphone. This is RJ45 for internet. And this example of DVR, this is a typical example of an hybrid DVR, which means this particular DVR can easily work for both analog cameras and IP camera. So we will be talking about that in the next episode actually. And this is a USB port for external hard drive and for our mouse, either wireless or wired mouse. And this is 12 volts AC, DC. This is 12 volt DC to power the DVR. And these are some of the lights for power, for hard drive, and for the internet. And this is an Hawk Vision VR. It's a very powerful hybrid. Open the digital video recorder and see how we can connect our hard drive to the digital video recorder. This particular place contains some information, a vital information about the DVR. As we can see, this barcode represents the software application for the DVR. Each manufacturer has their own specific application for each DVR. So on this, we'll be talking about the application on the next episode and DVR. This is the DVR. This is an internal circuit of the DVR. As you all can see, this is a CMOS battery, complementary metal oxide semiconductor battery. And this is our buzzer that will be giving us some alarms. And this is a power cable, and this as well also work for the hard drive. So let's quickly see how we can connect our hard drive. And this is our hard drive, and this is a Seagate surveillance hard drive, 500 gig. So before you can connect your hard drive, you set it right and you place, as we can see, these terminals are for this and these terminals are for this. So we can plug this and we can as well plug this. So you can see we've successfully plugged the power to the hard drive, and you can see there are some holes here. These holes are actually used to tighten the hard drive. You can see the screw hole here, one here, two here, three here, and four here. The reason why we need to tighten the hard drive is because we don't want the hard drive to be dangling, or we don't want the vibration of the hard drive to affect the working efficiency of the DVR. What I mean in essence is that if we power the DVR, we'll notice that the hard drive, when the hard drive is in operation, it will be vibrating due to some work. So by doing so, if we are not, or we didn't tighten the screw very well, we'll see that the hard drive will be shaking, and hard drive is very sensitive. It can cause a damage to the hard drive. So we need to tighten it. We need to tighten the four hole. After tightening, then we'll move on and close the hard drive, the DVR. So another component of the CCTV camera, and this is CCTV power supply. So let's quickly unbox the CCTV power supply. And this is a Polyvision CCTV power supply box, and this is a DC 18 channels power supply box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So what this means is that it can power up to 18 cameras at a go, and this is a very powerful power supply for powering our cameras. And each port can produce up to 12 volts DC, which is the ideal power voltage for our camera. So let's try to connect all the camera components together. Our BNC connector from both ends, one for the camera and one for the DVR. So after peeling, so you can peel this as well. So this is how to connect our BNC. So there are many ways to connect it. So you can actually choose a convenient way to connect your BNC. So you unscrew. This is how I connect the BNC connector. So we have to be very careful not to make this negative terminals to be connected to the positive terminal here. Then we close the BNC. Then we do the same thing for the other side. Then for the other side, as you can see, as you can see, this is how to terminate and connect our BNC. So you can see we successfully put our BNC to both ends, one hand to the camera end and the other hand to the DVR end. So let's quickly connect our power. This is the power cable, one end for the camera and one end for the power supply box. So this is our positive, this is our negative. This will go to the 12 volt and this will go to the 0 volt. This is our power connector. Use a power connector, DC power connector like this, or you can use a DC power connector like this. Anyone that's available at your disposal, you can easily use any of the two. It will perform the same function. So in my own case, I'll be using this as an example. So one end will be connected on the power connector. We can see a positive and we can see a negative. The positive will go to the red wire, while the negative will go to the black wire. In this case, if we are to use this power connector, the positive will go to the red, while the negative will go to the white. So positive to the red, then we screw, while the negative to the black, then we screw. Then we have successfully connect our power connector from this end, while the other end will be connected to our power supply box or our power source. But in my own case, I'm using a central power supply box, which is our 18 ways power supply box. Use any of the 18 terminals. As we can see, there is a positive and there is a negative for each of the terminals. So the positive will go to our red, while the negative will go to our black. So as an example, and we scroll. Okay, as you can see, you have to screw it firmly in order not to cause a spark. Use this focus camera as an example. This will be connected to one end of the power, while this will be connected to one end of the BNC. While the other end will be connected to our digital video recorder. So let's choose any of the four ports. Let's choose channel 1. So this has been connected. Okay. Now the next step is to connect our HDMI cable from the digital video recorder to our television. HDMI cable to the television. And the other end to our digital video recorder. As we can see, we have established a communication from the television to the recorder, then from the camera to our recorder as well. So, digital video recorder, plug the power supply. As you can see, there is the power indicator indicating that the camera, the DVR, has been powered. Okay, as you can see, the DVR is powered up. You can see from the screen, this is channel 1, this is channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. So it means that this DVR can take up to 4 cameras. So let's try to connect our mouse. This is a wireless mouse. Okay. Connected to our USB ports. Let me power. You can see the mouse has been powered, and you can see on the screen. So okay, as you can see, now let's try to connect our camera. Our power supply box has been connected to power. So let's try to power it up. As you can see it now, the power supply box is powered. You can all see, and the camera. Here this thing. The camera is now connected. As you can see, camera is connected. So you can see the camera is now up and is working perfectly. So in the next episode, we'll be looking at how we can connect our internet modem to our digital video recorder in order to view it remotely and connect it to the internet. Quickly recap on what we discussed today. So our today's topic is how to install analog camera, and we discussed so far how to connect our analog camera to the recorder, how to power our camera, and how to connect the recorder to the monitor and the television. So quickly on what we discussed today, this is our camera and it's connected through a BNC and a power supply connector directly to our digital video recorder and also to our power source, which is our 18-way power supply box. And our digital video recorder is connected through a cable known as HDMI cable connected to our television. And this is a typical example of 4 channels. As we can see, only one channel is showing because we connect only one camera to one of the 4 channel. So everything has been discussed, and we can as well see that this is a complete loop from the camera to our digital video recorder to our power supply box and also to our monitor, which is our television. So I hope you enjoy today's episode on how to connect our analog camera to our digital video recorder and our power supply box to our television, our monitor. Watch out for the next episode on how to connect our network video recorder, which is our NVR, to a power supply box and the IP camera, which is our internet protocol camera, to the network video recorder and to the television, and also how to connect a wireless camera, wireless IP camera, and also how to view our camera on remote access, remote monitoring, that is to connect it to the internet, which we are going to be using our modem. Thank you, and kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel